With smiles on their faces, Suzun Abbott and Debbie Heisler are taking their own tragedies and turning them into a triumph for others' futures. Shortly after he was awarded custody of his daughter, Debbie's son, David, was kidnapped and killed.
My granddaughter and I were traveling out of state, and her and her friends broke into our home, and they kidnapped my son and assaulted him in our home, bound and gagged him, covered him with a pillowcase, and put him in the back seat of his own car, and drove him to the Arizona desert where they left him. My granddaughter's mother and her two friends were arrested for his murder and kidnapping.
Suzun's daughter, Christina, passed away, and the biological father was awarded custody of her two granddaughters after he got out of prison. Suzun hired a private investigator and found them living out of state. She too later received custody.
Debbie and I actually met in a courthouse elevator. I had been through a long DCFS child custody case. We both had lost children. We both had loved ones missing. We both were grandparents raising our granddaughters, and we had a lot in common.
After meeting with others involved in custody cases in the community, Debbie and Suzun decided to create a safe place for children for visitation.
There is no other place that people can go and have supervised visitation in a setting like this that's safe and neutral and looks like somebody's home.
The two came up with the name Blue Butterfly because David's favorite color was blue and Christina loved butterflies.
And the butterfly needs to struggle to get out of its cocoon. If it does not struggle, it will not survive. It won't have its wings. It won't be able to fly. So we found that pretty symbolic for these children. They are struggling. We want them to survive and we want them to fly.
Over the past year, the two have asked the community for help. They raised money through a website and Facebook pages. Finally, a little over a year later, they've opened the doors. They've received a lot of support from the community with furniture and decorations.
It's important for this community to have some place safe and some place where they can have peace and fun and create new memories that are not out of the ashes, but something new and beautiful like the butterfly.
There is a great need in the community, and for me, it's just an opportunity to give back in a meaningful way.
The community has stepped up. They need it. They need it as much as we need it.
Suzun and Debbie believe this new house is an option for custody cases in district court they hope will be used.
Sadly, when parents are divorcing, the parents don't get along all too often, but the children need to be involved with both sets of parents. So if there is a way to mitigate some of that negativity, then that's essential because it's a better outcome for the children and then for the parents as well.
We want to help the children and the parents hopefully get to reunification, but this is a safe, neutral facility that can help them do that.
My little brother was in a situation where he had supervised visits about 10 years ago with his daughter, and it was a bad situation. There was drugs on the other end, which so often seems to be, and he just couldn't afford to pay for the supervised visits. And this is such a beautiful, homey, fun place. It's not sterile like so many of them. I just think it's fantastic.
Our theme is Dr. Seuss's quote from his book, Oh, the Places You'll Go. And the whole thought behind this was that these kids are in a tough place. It's really hard for them to have their parents fighting or maybe not be able to spend as much time with them as they would like. And so we wanted just a place where they could be reminded that it doesn't matter where they are now. They can choose where they want to go from here.
The home can also be used for respite care for grandparents. In 2014, it was reported that almost 58,000 grandparents were caring for their grandchildren in Utah. The Blue Butterfly House is already getting a lot of referrals.
It's a safe place, and we hope we can reach those people even before they get to court. So when they're in the courtroom setting, they can already have a plan in place and say, I want to use the Blue Butterfly House.
Both Suzun and Debbie believe that they have been guided along the way by David and Christina.
If we can help just one, never to have this happen in their lives, we've done what we've set out to do.
From the Blue Butterfly House in St. George, Melissa Anderson, CEC News.